There is someone in your life who can convince you of anything, who makes you take decisions you wouldn't make with anyone else, who leaves you feeling like it was your idea when it was actually theirs. You probably already know who it is. What you don't know is why only that person has that power over you. Today, you're going to find out, and it's going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to put you in 3 situations. Your first reaction in each one will reveal your deepest psychological vulnerability, not the answer you want to give. The first one that comes before you think. Situation number 1, you're in a meeting. A colleague presents a mediocre idea, not brilliant, not terrible. Your boss looks at you and asks, "Could you do better?" Option A, you feel an immediate surge of energy. This is your moment. You start talking and go beyond what you planned. You want to make it clear that you have a better idea and that you're the most capable person in the room. Option B, you smile, say you might have a few ideas, and ask to talk privately later. You're not showing your cards now. First, you need to understand what your boss actually wants before you expose yourself. Option C, you respond neutrally. Sure, I can try. No excitement, no conscious strategy. You assess it as a task to complete without emotional weight. Situation number 2, a close friend calls you crying. They're going through a hard time. They need support. You had plans for tonight, plans that matter to you. Option A, you cancel everything and go. You can't ignore someone suffering, but while you're there, part of you expects that person to recognize how much you gave up for them. Option B, you go. But before leaving, you're already calculating. This person owes you a favor now, not in a cold, conscious way, but there's a part of your mind that automatically logs these exchanges. Option C, you go because it's the right thing to do. But while you're listening, you notice you don't feel the other person's pain viscerally. You understand their suffering, you just don't carry it in your own body. Situation number 3. Someone you just met compliments you in a very specific way, not a generic compliment. One that touches exactly something you value about yourself. It feels tailor-made. Option A, you feel an immediate connection. Something relaxes inside you. You lower your guard in a way that would normally take months with someone new. Option B, you thank them politely, but internally you go on alert. Very specific compliments from people who barely know you are a sign that someone wants something. Option C, the compliment barely changes anything. You continue evaluating that person by the same criteria as before. What they said doesn't significantly alter your perception of them. Hold on to your answers. Now here's what they mean. If you chose predominantly A, your vulnerability is validation. It's not a character flaw. It's a pattern that formed over the course of your life. People who grew up needing to prove their own worth develop a specific sensitivity to recognition, and that sensitivity creates a predictability that experienced manipulators exploit with surgical precision. Robert Cialdini called this strategic flattery. The logic is straightforward. Find out what a person most needs to hear about themselves, say it with conviction, and they'll open doors that are normally closed. Not because they're naive, but because genuine and strategic recognition activate the same internal response. The protection is one simple question before acting. What does this person gain if I believe this? Genuine compliments have no agenda. Strategic ones always precede a request. When someone who barely knows you somehow knows exactly what to say to make you feel seen, that's not intuition. That's mapping. Mapping has an objective, and when you see the objective before acting, the mechanism loses its force. If you chose predominantly B, your vulnerability is calculated reciprocity. You think in terms of exchanges. You log favors, you maintain a mental ledger of who owes you what. That's efficient, but it creates a specific opening that people with dark intentions learn to exploit. A 2019 study from the University of Cambridge identified a consistent pattern. People who think strategically are especially vulnerable to manipulators who create artificial debts. Someone who does something for you that you didn't ask for in a visible and conspicuous way creates an obligation that your own internal system registers as real. You were helped. You owe them. And when that person collects, and they will, it will be much harder to refuse. The protection. Question unsolicited favors with the same scrutiny you give direct requests. Whoever builds debts you didn't ask for is planning a collection you won't want to pay. And it rarely comes immediately. It appears months later when you've already forgotten the original favor. That forgetting is part of the plan. If you chose predominantly C, your vulnerability is different from the other two. And in many ways, it's the most sophisticated to exploit. You have high resistance to direct emotional manipulation. Flattery has little effect. Emotional debts move you less. But researcher Kevin Dutton identified a specific opening in this profile: intellectual challenge and deliberate underestimation. Telling you that you can't do something, that you won't notice a specific detail, that you're not capable of solving a problem, activates a response that is almost impossible to ignore. It's not emotional, it feels rational. It's the need to demonstrate that the assessment was wrong. Manipulators who understand this pattern don't ask. They challenge. And you step into the game without realizing you were directed exactly where they wanted you. The protection. When you feel the impulse to prove something to someone, ask yourself who benefits if you prove it. If the answer isn't you, the challenge isn't about your capability. It's about the destination someone else chose for you. The challenge only works while you believe the issue is about you. The moment you realize it's about where they want to take you, it dissolves. What all three patterns have in common is that none of them is a failure of intelligence. They're automatic responses that formed for real reasons. Intelligent people fall into these patterns all the time. Sometimes because of their intelligence, not in spite of it. Because intelligence without self-knowledge only makes rationalization more sophisticated. This has a name in psychology: predictability engineering. Anyone can be influenced when someone discovers the specific stimulus that activates their automatic response. The difference between who can manipulate you and who can't isn't luck. It's that the first person discovered your pattern before acting. These three profiles are part of what Daniel Jones and Delroy Paulhus called the Dark Triad. The same traits that make someone capable of manipulation are the ones that create specific vulnerabilities to being manipulated. Nobody is outside this game. The difference is between who knows the rules and who believes they're not playing. Now you know your pattern. And knowing changes everything. Because the next time someone tries to use that opening against you, there will be a part of you that recognizes the move before you've already given in. Sometimes recognizing the pattern in the past is exactly what protects you in the future. Leave a comment with your predominant letter. And if you've ever lived through a situation where someone used exactly that blind spot against you, tell me how it went. I'll read every response. In the next video, how these same profiles behave inside close relationships, what each one does differently when they're close to you, and how to identify them before it's too late.